First of all, I'd like to thank those in the gallery who've come here today and who consistently campaign for their children and for all of our children, for all of us, by the work that they do. I want to congratulate Greg from Ballymun and his Mrs. Celine, because they have fought like tigers in Finglas and got their son a place when up to the last minute he hadn't got one. Likewise to Nicola O'Dea. I don't think they're here today, but nevertheless we have other amazing people here today, including Hugo and his dad. And Hugo asked me on the way in here, Hugo has special needs, why will the unions not answer my letters? He has written to the trade unions and asked them to help mobilise demonstrations to force this government to do something about special needs. Fair play to Hugo, well done. And I would think you deserve an answer to that question. Why do the unions not answer your letter, indeed? But I want to approach this from a slightly different angle. You see, Conor Reddy, the councillor who's up there and who led an amazing campaign in Finglas, said to me, Bríd, this is about planning and delivery. And the more you look at it, the more I totally agree with him. Now, I know that your speeches are written by civil servants. Sometimes my speeches are written by parliamentary assistants. The minister who left her speech is written by a civil servant. But I noticed she said in her speech, I am proud as an educator to see the progress made in schools in the area of special education. I understand and regret that some families and students feel that the system is not working for them. It's not fair that families are put in a position of feeling that they have to fight for the right for education. It is not a feeling. It is an absolute reality. And it is reality for hundreds and thousands of parents and hundreds and thousands of children. And when she says we are all aware of the increased prevalence of disabilities like autism, well, it's going to increase and be more prevalent in the future. So we want to see a plan. And actually, today's contribution from yourself and from the previous minister who's left doesn't give us a plan. She says three things that jumped out. One, that there's a recent announcement relating to the provision of therapy services in special schools. Two, that there's a national strategy and action plan for lifelong guidance so that people can make better choice about their education. And three, that there's a comprehensive employment strategy for people with disabilities. And four, she speaks about the Towards Inclusion programme. Brilliant, delighted, great. She doesn't tell us how you are going to clear the waiting list of, how many is it, 10,000 who are waiting for assessment of special needs, how you're going to engage the, how many, I have to lose me, let me come to that, how you're going to engage the 375 extra clinicians that the HSC says we need in order to clear that waiting list for assessment of leave. Not a word about that. Nor do we hear, as Richard pointed out, there are 110,000 children waiting for therapies, and there's a 30% overall void in the number of therapists available. You didn't tell us about how you're going to do that. Neither did you tell us about how you're going to increase the spaces in university to train new therapists for the future. That's in our motion. All of these things about have a plan, an immediate plan to get the 375 extra clinicians in, an immediate plan to increase the therapy places in university, an immediate plan to employ therapists and retain them. Look at their work, their pay, their conditions. Can they access housing? Why are they leaving jobs? If we can recruit them, how can we hold on to them? That is the plan we need to see. Otherwise it's lip service. And I know you're not going to oppose this. The government have not put forward a counter motion or an amendment or any of that stuff, so there'll be no vote on this, there'll be no controversy. Who could vote against this? You'd be out of your skull to vote against this, so you're not going to. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about the chairperson's bill that was passed and that is sitting, waiting in some kind of a laboratory for the committees to look at and never gets looked at? How are you going to deal with these things? And that's what we needed to hear today, was planning and delivery. No more platitudes, no more, oh, it's great and we've done this and this. We're going to announce 16 schools in October and we're working with the Minister for Education for this. Great, lovely. But what we really need is a plan to deal with this as a matter of urgency. And urgency because we daily come across people, and I've recently written to you about one, and she has had a huge amount of help since I wrote, but she came to me when I was a young councillor looking for services for her child. He is now a big, strong man who beats her up. And she needed respite, and she needed care for him. Now she's getting it. But had she not been screaming and almost killed, and me screaming at you, she would still be out there suffering. We need an urgent plan.
Thank you, Deputy.